I think the truth from all the research I have done and all the people I've talked to and all the discussions I have had, um, I think the truth is that it's not nearly as complicated as the powers that be, would like to make it seem to build an anti gravity vehicle. I don't think it requires ultra advanced metamaterials that would require cutting edge lithography technology. Basically, it all comes down to the manipulation of the vector and scalar potentials. And I explained this once before in the previous interview with you, but I think it's important enough that I explain it again. Maxwell, the original electrodynamicist who came up with the original Maxwell equations. And I want to say this was in the 1800s. I don't remember the exact date. I'm just going to throw a date out there, 1875. It could have been before or after that, but it was a long time ago. In his original equations, um, empty space, even the regions between stars or between galaxies where, there's not even interstellar dust, space itself is filled with a type of medium, a some type of substance that permeates everything. You can call this the ether, you can call this the electron positron sea, you can call this the active vacuum, the 0 point energy field. There's tons and tons of names for it, but he claimed that it existed. And in his equations, to define the movements and pressure of the vacuum, of this universal medium, he came up with what's called the vector potentials, or the magnetic vector potential, and the scalar potential. The vector and scalar potentials describe the properties of the ether. The scalar potential could be considered if you were under the surface of a river. Imagine the Colorado River or some other large river, and you're under the surface, and you feel pressure from the water pushing around you from all directions. That would be the scalar potential. Basically, it would have to do with the density and the pressure all around you from this medium. The vector potential, a vector means it has a direction. So the vector potential would mean the flow of that medium in a certain direction, the movement of it. And so the scalar and vector potentials were considered by Maxwell to be real, and that the vector potential was basically the heart of electromagnetism. You know, a magnetic field, according to Maxwell, was basically just the curl or the twist of the vector potential. So really, in reality, there is no magnetic field in a separate entity from the vector potential. It's just a different manifestation of the vector potential. And what happened was around, I want to say, a little bit after the turn of the century, the ether theory, the idea there was a universal medium that permeated everything, even between the subatomic particles in the atoms that make up your body. That idea of the ether fell out of vogue, and it became less popular, and mainstream scientists dismissed it. And then not long after that, a scientist by the name of Heaviside, he gutted Maxwell's original equations. He reduced them in number. He used a different type of math to lay them out, and he eliminated the vector and scalar potentials. He went so far to say that he murdered the vector potential. That was his own words. He despised them because all he wanted to do was to dumb it down enough so that people could hook up and wire up cities with, ordinary electricity. That's all he cared about. So he just gutted it down, simplified it, dumbed it down, and just eliminated the vector and scalar potentials. But that was a travesty. That was what, in my opinion, set humanity back. Because understanding how to manipulate and control the vector and scalar potentials is the key to controlling apparent mass, inertia, and gravity. You see, inertia, mass, and gravity are all different manifestations of the scalar and vector potentials, which is, the pressure and the movements of the ether. One thing you have to realize here and try to conceptualize this, the same force that pushes you towards the surface of the earth, the same force you feel when, you try to pull apart two permanent magnets, and the same force you feel with your body when you slam on the brakes of your car, they're all the same force. They're just different manifestations of the scalar and vector potentials. It's not they're fundamentally different. They're fundamentally the same. They're just variants of each other. And that's a critical concept that people need to realize.